Okay, today I would like to continue the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. And I would like to repeat a little bit what I have said yesterday. So yesterday we have talked about dukkha ariya satya, the noble truth of suffering, right? And we have explained from the birth is suffering until the last one, clinging to five aggregate is also dukkha. So now we would like to ask ourselves a question. Why are the five aggregates called aggregates of clinging? Panjupadana khanda dukkha. So this khanda means aggregates. We say upadana khanda, the aggregates of clinging. So why? Why are the five aggregates called aggregates of clinging? And in what ways do sentient beings cling to five aggregates? This is a very important question that we need investigation and analysis. Okay, so first, we sentient beings cling to five aggregates through three ways. The first one, we cling to five aggregates by way of tanha. Tanha means craving, hungry or thirst. They call tanha. So how we cling to five aggregates by way of tanha? We cling to five aggregates as mine, belong to me, my property, my body, right? My feeling, my anger, my delusion, my jealousy, my mindfulness, my mind. So we cling to this five aggregate by way of craving and say five aggregates belong to me. Okay, so this first type of clinging. We also clinging to five aggregates by way of mana. Mana means conceit. So we cling to the five aggregates as I by way of conceit. I am superior than you. My body is stronger than you. My wisdom is sharper than you. My perception is clearer than you. My karma is more superior than you. You see, we compare the five aggregates with others and cling to our own five aggregates with conceit. Okay. The third way, we also cling to the five aggregates as an permanent self or eternal soul by way of identity view, sakkaya ditthi. So by way of sakkaya ditthi, wrong view of self, then we cling to the five aggregate. We identify body as myself, right? We identify feeling as myself. We identify different state of mind or emotions as myself. And we identify our way of thinking as myself. So if we cling to five aggregates by way of ditthi, identity view, then when this five aggregate change, then we suffer accordingly. Because we already identify body as myself. So when body becomes sick or we suddenly got the cancer, then through the clinging, clinging to the body as myself, then we cannot, and then we feel sorrowful, lamentation, grief, despair. But if you do not identify body as yourself, when body change, when sickness comes or any accident comes, then you can take it easy because you do not identify body as yourself. Therefore, by this 3 ways of clinging to 5 aggregates as mine, belonging to me, as I, with comparison with others, as myself, with identity view, then we cannot escape from suffering. There's no way we can escape from suffering if we cling to the 5 aggregates in these ways. Okay? This is the reason why the aggregates become the object of clinging. Okay. Now we have finished the noble truth of suffering. So you got to understand the content of noble truth of suffering. From birth is dukkha until the last one, the 5 aggregates of clinging is dukkha. Please remember that. Without remember that, you cannot gain knowledge. Okay, now we go to the second noble truth. As we said, birth or having 5 aggregates of clinging is dukkha. Then we also, as a practitioner, we also need to investigate what is the origin of this dukkha. What caused dukkha to arise? Nothing can arise without causes. This is the teaching of the Buddha, right? So we got to investigate why this suffering comes, why birth comes, why aging comes, why 5 aggregates appear in the world. So by investigating the 5 aggregates, by investigating the arising of birth, then we finally come to understand it is the craving, they call tanha, that give rise to fresh rebirth, accompanied by passion and delight, relishing now, here, now, there, everywhere. So, therefore, craving, tanha, is called the noble truth of the origin of suffering. Just like Buddha say, "Oh, you are sick." You go and see doctor, say, "I'm sick." And then the doctor check you and find out the reason why you are sick. And the Buddha give medicine to cure your sickness. So the reason is very important. The reason for you to sick, for you to fall sick is very important. Similarly, the reason, the cause, the origin for us to know why the suffering arise is very important. Once you know the origin, once you know the reason, then you can tackle the cause, then the effect will disappear. When you tackle the cause, remove the cause, then the effect of suffering will also disappear in the world. Then you don't suffer anymore. Okay, therefore, it's very important to understand the second noble truth, the origin of suffering. And Buddha declared in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Buddha said, the craving, tanha, that give rise to fresh rebirth. Because when there is rebirth, there is aging, there is birth. When there's rebirth, then birth is suffering. Start from very moment the birth arises, then followed by aging, sickness, and death. Then lamentation, sorrow, cannot get what you want, a separation from beloved one, and finally the 5 aggregates of clinging. Thereby, everything come from, all this suffering come from rebirth, come from having born to this world. And when you come, Buddha say, when you come to this world, then the existence, coming into existence is accompanied by passion and delight. You don't come to this world with this passion. or not delighting in the world. No. All sentient beings come to this world accompanied by passion and delight. Relishing now, whether you're reborn in a human world or animal world or hungry ghost, the world of hungry ghost, and you feel happy, happy now, here, now, there, everywhere, not only limited to human world, including Deva world, which full of sensual pleasures, human world, angry, hungry ghost, and also the hell beings. So wherever you're reborn, we think that the beings in the four woeful states are full of suffering. But when we reborn as a dog, we also enjoy the life of dog. You see the dog also barking, playing here and there. They are not crying all the time, right? So they also enjoy the life as animal, although we see them as suffering. So this is the nature of craving. The craving is very sticky. Wherever you reborn, the craving will attach to that realm of existence, whether it's suffering existence or happy existence. So therefore Buddha say, this rebirth is accompanied by passion and delight, and relishing now, here, now, there, everywhere, whether it's happy destination or unhappy destination. Therefore, we translate this tanha. You better remember this Pali word. Tanha is hungry, thirsty, thirst. When you are hungry, you want to eat something. You don't care whether the food is good or bad, right? You just want to fill your stomach. Therefore, when you are hungry or thirsty, you just want to take action. You just crave for something to eat, to drink. So whether even the drink is full of poison, but you don't think of it. You just want to ease your hunger, want to ease your thirst. This is called craving. We translate tanha as craving, hungry, hunger, or thirst. Then Buddha say, there are also three types of tanha. Buddha continued to teach. There are three types of tanha that cause rebirth. Now we are talking rebirth because we say birth is suffering, aging, suffering, clinging to five aggregates, dukkha. So what's the origin? Craving. Crave is the craving that causes fresh rebirth. When there's rebirth, all suffering comes, follow after rebirth. So how many type of craving, how many type of tanha that cause rebirth? Buddha continued to explain. There are three types of tanha, craving. Number one is called craving for sensual pleasure. We call kama tanha. Kama means sensual. Tanha means craving. So craving for sensual pleasures. We as human being and Deva and also four woeful states. Especially human being and Deva. We live in this sensual world, right? We call Kama Loka. We live in the sensual world. There are three types of world. Sensual world, material world, and immaterial world, right? We live in sensual world. Therefore, it's very natural for us to crave for sensual pleasure. When we talk about sensual pleasures, we have to remember how we enjoy sensual pleasures. It's through 6 bases, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Through 6 bases, we enjoy the 6 sense objects, which is visible form, sound, smell, taste, tangible object, and mental object. So our eyes are always hungry for the sight. Our ear are always hungry for sweet voice or opposite voice. Our tongue is always hungry for delicious taste. And our body is always hungry, crave for tangible touch. And our mind, even worse, can go wild, can go crazy for thinking this and that, and thinking whatever that satisfies you. Therefore, our 6 sense bases are always hungry for something. When you're hungry for something, you will chase after the object you are hungry for, right? So when you chase after the object you are hungry for, then once you get it, then you start to enjoy. And this is called craving for sensual pleasure. And you enjoy sensual pleasure with tanha, with craving, with hunger, with thirst. And this is called karma already. Whatever karma that is accompanied by craving, by tanha, it will leave behind karmic force. And when this karmic force ripen or mature, it will produce new rebirth. When it produces new rebirth in the human world, then you also, through the past experience of enjoying sensual pleasures, now the new rebirth also crave for sensual pleasure again, because it's a past tendency that handed down to the new generation, and this person also have strong craving for the sensual pleasures, because this is what he lived in his past life, right? Therefore, there's endless. If we allow us to crave for sensual pleasures life after life, then there's no hope for escaping from the craving. When there's no escaping from craving, there's no end of dukkha. Okay. Number 2, craving for becoming, or we call bhava tanha. Craving for becoming also we translate as craving for existence or craving for life, bhava tanha. You know, all sentient beings fear of death. Why? Why we fear of death? In fact, fear of death is a sign of craving for life, right? Because you want to continue to live, you don't want to die. This is the sign of craving for becoming, craving for existence, and craving for life. And during dying moment, when life come to end, during the dying moment, except for Arahant, everybody, one of the three signs will appear in the dying moment's vision. It can be sign of karma, what karma he had done in the past, a sign of destination, where he's going to reborn, called sign of destination. Then sign of karma itself. First sign of karma, sign of destination, and karma itself. Sign of karma is the instrument a person use. For example, this person always do dana. So during dying moment, he may see the food he offered. So this is called sign of karma. But if he see himself doing the karma, like he see the movie, then it's called karma. But if he see the Deva realm, because of offering food to the monastics, then during dying moment, he see the Deva mansion, Deva environment. Then this is called sign of destination. So this sign, let's say, he see the food he offered, sign of karma. So this karma, this sign arises in a dying moment, vision, in the person who is going to die, appear as a vision, and this sign is produced by karma, by his own karma. Therefore, we cannot see. Only he can see because it's his own karma. Okay, then and this karma supported by craving, because when he do dana the time, he has desire to get the merit, merit to be reborn in a good family, merit to reborn in Deva realm, and merit to become rich, and so on. So this is also craving, right? You desire for merit is also craving, but it's a wholesome craving. Okay, so this craving support the karma, they make the sign to appear. And the craving will push this person. And this person, during dying moment, when he see the sign, his mind will grasp the sign very strongly. Why? Because he did not want to die. He doesn't want to die. Therefore, his mind will grasp the sign very firmly. And being pushed by the craving for existence, craving for becoming, and the new rebirth will appear in another world, either in human world or in Deva world. Let's say in human world, okay? In then he discussed his old body. Then the consciousness will continue to flow. Then he reached the consciousness, reached the new world of human. Okay. Then a rebirth takes place. When the consciousness reaches to the new world, then we call rebirth, and rebirth takes place. Okay. Now I have a question to ask you. So this new, the old person dies and new person takes rebirth. So is the same self transmigrate to another world? For most people, they will think that I die already, then I appear in a new world. So it's the same self transmigrate from the past life to the present life. Most people would think that way, right? Therefore, craving for becoming or craving for existence is corresponding to eternality view. Eternality view says that because it's a view, right? Therefore, it's a belief that the same self transmigrate from one world, one existence to another existence. This is called craving for becoming or craving for existence. Okay, now my question for you, is it really the same self transmigrate from one world to another world? If you think in that way, then you have the wrong view of Ucheta Ditti or eternality view. But you may counter question me, okay? If it's not the same self, how can we remember the past experiences? Some boy, some young children, they can remember their past life, right? Past life, my father named Mr. what. Past life, I was reborn in which village. So if it's not the same self, how can we remember the past experiences? This is the function of perception. We have learned the 5 aggregates, right? The perception, what we experienced in the past. The perception makes a record. record down. The perception has a quality of, label something so that he can recognize again in the future, right? This is the meaning of perception, sanya. So the perception done the work. He record what he has experienced and put the imprint along the life continuum. The experience leave the imprint along the life continuum. And this is the work of perception. Perception do the labeling and do the recognition and do the memory also. But because we didn't understand, so we think, oh, it's the same cell that transmigrates from past to the present. Therefore, most Buddhists have the wrong view of eternity view. In fact, life, what is life? Life is like a continuously flowing river. The flowing water in the back pushes the flowing water in the front, but they are not the same, right? The water at the back is different from the water in the front. If you say they are the same, then it is completely eternity. So this new sentient being, the newborn, new rebirth, the baby from the rebirth, this new sentient being is neither identical nor different. If you say this newborn baby is completely different from the past, this is another wrong view, even worse. This is called this is called Uchetaditi. Sorry, just now eternality view is called Sasata Ditti. Now it's called annihilation view, because you say the newborn baby is completely different from the past. This is called annihilation view, Ucheta Ditti. So this is also not correct. But if you say they are identical, then you fall into eternality view. If you say they are completely different, then you fall into annihilation view. So how should we say? Neither the same nor otherness. This is the middle path. Neither the same nor otherness. Neither the old one who is dead nor the new one who is reborn. So life is a continuous flow of stream. If you can understand the flow of the river, you should be able to understand the flow of life stream. Okay? This is a bit profound and difficult, but I think it's necessary for me to explain to you to get right view. Okay, so we have come to understand the craving for becoming and craving for non-existence or craving for existence. Now we come to the third type of craving for non-becoming or non-existent. Vibhava tanha. Vibhava tanha says that it's also accompanied corresponding to annihilation view. Vibhava tanha, craving for non-becoming, is corresponding to annihilation view. And this view says that after death, nothing remains. Everything gone already. So such view is very welcome by those who have done a lot of evil, who have done a lot of akusala karma. Because after that, I don't have to pay. I don't have to pay my karma. I don't have to reap the result of bad karma I have done, right? So this view is very welcome by those who are not afraid of evil. But we Buddhists definitely reject this view because we believe in karma. When we believe in karma, we believe in result, right? But for those who crave for non-becoming, which is accompanied by annihilation view, not afraid of result, because they think no result. Then why should he afraid? And such wrong view also will produce rebirth, because it's kilesa. Wrong view is a defilement of the mind. Any defilement of mind can produce kilesa. Can produce rebirth. Especially craving, wrong view, ignorance. All these are very strong defilement. Definitely will produce new rebirth. But for the third one, craving for non-becoming, they are surely to produce rebirth in lower realm. Because wrong view is very, wrong view leads the wrong action, right? Wrong view leads to wrong speech and so on. Therefore, it definitely will produce rebirth in lower realm of existence. Okay, so these are the origin of suffering. Craving is the origin of suffering. Craving for sensual pleasure, craving for becoming, and craving for non-becoming. Okay, next, we come to the third noble truth, the noble truth of the cessation of suffering. Buddha say, what is the noble truth of the cessation of suffering? Nirodha Satcha. It is the remainderless fading and cessation, renunciation, relinquishment, release, and letting go of that very craving. So, as we understand, craving is the origin of suffering. So when craving come to existence, craving come to non-existence, or craving come to cessation, then it's the end of suffering, right? Therefore, the noble truth of the cessation of suffering, Nirodha Satcha, is very easy to understand. Craving is the origin. So when we remove the craving, then we reach the end of suffering. This is the meaning. So we call it the fading away, completely fading and cessation of craving, or the renunciation of craving, or relinquishment of craving, or release and letting go of that very craving. That very craving, including the three types of craving: craving for becoming, craving for non-becoming, and craving for sensual pleasures. So if you can completely let go of these three types of craving, then you reach the noble truth of the cessation of suffering. This is very easy to understand. And when you completely let go of that very craving, then you achieve Nibbana, right? You achieve Nibbana. Therefore, Nibbana, attainment of Nibbana is also the normal truth of the cessation of suffering. So what is Divana? In Sanskrit, we call Divana is Nirvana. Pali, we call Divana. Sanskrit, we call Divana. Sanskrit is the written form of language. Pali is a spoken form of language. So the term Divana is a combination of roots, Nir and Vana. Nir means to escape or depart. Vana is called desire. So to escape from desire or depart from desire. Desire means craving also. Depart from tanha, escape from tanha. Then one reach Divana. So this is the meaning of Divana. So Divana is the escape, fading away, renunciation, cessation, and liberation of all type of desire and craving. Therefore, one should understand the cessation of suffering, the noble truth of the cessation of suffering, Nirodha Satcha, is the escaping or cessation of that very craving. And when you reach that, you also attain, at the same time, you attain Divana. And Divana itself has no Namarupa, no craving, nothing. Okay, so this is the cessation of the suffering. Then how can we reach that cessation of suffering? So Buddha tell you, okay, first tell you you are sick. Now I find out the cause for your sickness. Now, and Buddha say the sickness can be cured, which is Divana, or letting go of that craving and reach Divana, can be cured. However, you need to take my medicine. If you take my medicine, all the suffering, all the dukkha can disappear, can be healed, can come to stop. Therefore, Buddha finally, lastly, Buddha give the path. We call the normal truth of the way of practice leading to the cessation of suffering. This noble truth, the third noble truth, the noble truth of the way of practice leading to the cessation of suffering is also called the middle way. In the very beginning, we say that Buddha told us to not to indulge in two extremes, right? But walk the middle way. And Buddha also said the middle way is also noble eightfold path. Therefore, the middle way or noble eightfold path are the same, and they are the noble truth of the way of practice leading to the cessation of suffering. Okay, what are these noble eightfold paths? Let us go one more round in more detail. Number one is right view. Buddha say in the sutta, I think in the sutta of 117, Majjhima Nikaya, Buddha say right view come first. Majjhima Nikaya 117, Buddha say right view come first. So therefore, in the Noble Eightfold Path, right view is a leader. When you have the right view, you will have the right thought. You will have the right speech, right action, right livelihood, and you will have right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Therefore, right view is like sunrise. When sun is rising, the light dispel the ignorance of the world. Similarly, when you have the right view, this right view will dispel the ignorance in your heart. Then you can see things very clearly. Okay? Okay, let us go one by one, the meaning of the Noble Eightfold Path, the eight factors. Number one is called Samma Ditti, right view, Samma Ditti. In the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, Dikha Nikaya 22, the Buddha explained the four levels of right view as follows. Number one, knowing the truth of suffering. Now we come back to the Four Noble Truths, because the Four Noble Truths is the core teaching of the Buddha. As a Buddhist practitioner, you got to know the Four Noble Truths. Only then you can have right view. So right view means knowing the truth of suffering, knowing the truth of the origin of dukkha, knowing the truth of the cessation of dukkha, and knowing the truth of the way of practice leading to the cessation of dukkha. In short, right view is knowing the Four Noble Truths. So when people ask you, what is the right view? The first answer should be knowing the Four Noble Truths. However, right view also can divide into two: mundane right view and supramundane right view. According to Majjhima Nikaya 117, Buddha say, monks, what is right view? Right view, I say, is twofold. Number one, there is right view that is accompanied by defilements, siding with merit, ripening in the acquisitions of becoming. You may not be able to understand this sentence. Okay, let me give you an example. When you do dana, let's say, when you do dana, this is called right view. You understand dana is wholesome deed that bring wholesome result. This is called karma. You understand right view, karma right view. Okay, but this right, when you do the karma, when you do the dana, generosity or offering food to monastic, it's siding with merit. Right? You got a merit, so it's side with merit and ripening in the acquisitions. So when this dana, karma, good karma ripen, then you get new rebirth. Rebirth in Deva realm, rebirth in human realm. Therefore, Buddha say, ripening in the acquisitions or of becoming. This is called mundane right view. Similarly, when you keep precepts, it's also right view, right? Because you understand you keep precept can accumulate merit. So siding with merit. And when this keeping morality, when this good karma ripen, then you get new becoming. You get new becoming in a human world or next Deva world. Similarly, when you practice jhana, when you practice jhana, you also understand this is wholesome deed, right? Any wholesome deed will produce result. You got merit. That merit, when ripen, karma ripen, you produce new rebirth in Brahma world. So it's also ripening in the acquisition of becoming. This is called mundane right view. Why it's called in acquisition of becoming? Because it produces new rebirth again and again, but rebirth in a good plane of existence. Rebirth in a good plane of existence is also another meaning, prolong the cycle of rebirth, right? As long as you have rebirth, then the samsara is no end. This is what this mundane right view trying to say. So if you understand this world, this next world, when you do good, you get a result in the next world. This is also called mundane right view. And you also believe there is a spontaneous reborn beings. In Deva, they don't they come into existence do not through mother's womb. They are spontaneous rebirth. So if you have this understanding, it's also called right view. And you understand the 31 plane of existence, all sentient being in each existence is a result of their karma. Having this understanding is also called mundane right view. Okay,